There are many obstacles. It's a road full of obstacles, but women have conquered it. First obstacle I feel is of the fear. You know, they fear their menfolk, they fear the community. They have to conquer that fear of going out, being economically independent. Socially also, even if a woman works, her work is not acknowledged. So she may be sitting there doing embroidery, but her work is not acknowledged. You ask her family and they say, oh, this is part-time work. So neither is her contribution to the household, to the community, even to the economy, because she's so invisible working from home. So what do the artisans contribute to the economy is difficult to measure, has not been measured. So women remain invisible, large number of women remain invisible, particularly those that work from home. And when they remain invisible and isolated because they're working from home. Now the whole process of organizing is based on a shop floor technique, you know, that you collect in a shop floor, you do, it's a very, it relates to a factory setting. So, or building you know, so what you do is that you collect together, you do collective bargaining, you go on a protest, a strike, etc. But here the situation is absolutely different. The place of work is your own home, where your own family is not even acknowledging your contribution to the families. And we have studies and studies to prove that artisans who are working from home are making contributions to our children's education, to day-to-day care. And now with the markets and the shocks, etc. in the economy, it is this work of women that absorbs these shocks that families face. Okay? So first constraint she faces is of fear. The second that she faces is of invisibility. Her work and her contribution is not recognized. She is not recognized as a worker. So when she wants to come together as a group, saying this is what I've been doing, you know, the trader might feel more comfortable dealing with her husband, despite the fact that the husband might be just you know, acting like a middleman or a middleman. So that is the other thing, that you know, she has to get there layers and layers of middlemen, and she has to get across from them and do her own bargaining for what she's, and which is difficult because you know, there are also social connections, family norms. Usually the middleman would be her uncle or relative or somebody, you know, and then there would be another one above him, and etc. So that's difficult. So invisibility, fear. Then the third is that, you know, just how do you come together? Isolation. How do you come together? Everybody is working. There's so much time spent in care work, in economic work. Where is the time to come together, have meetings, decide? Fourth is lack of capacity. Okay, so you've come together, you've conquered the earlier things. I have no education, I have very limited exposure. Can I run an organization of my own? Can I trade on my own collectively? How I need to build my own capacity to do that. And then once, even if I do it, then direct access to market. Do I have direct access to market? Markets are large, changing. Women are in isolated rural areas. How are they going to understand? Very interestingly, I must tell you, once I was working with some artisans in Gujarat, and they had made absolutely a beautiful skirt with a peacock. They had embroidered it, but it was for a Western audience, so the peacock was black, and the woman who was embroidering was distraught, because for her, her embroidery is her connect to her world, and she said, who would want a black peacock? You know, the peacocks are the most colorful things in these deserts. So she completely does not understand the market, or the market completely does not understand what she's trying to do. So conquering that, to be able to, and then just mass production, large production, being able to do that, I think that's a very big challenge.